Ho, ho, to say nothing of ho. What leads me to that conclusion? Well, tonight's mask on Creepy Cheapies with Dr. Lady, where we look for the best in reasonably priced, well-made monster masks and Halloween masks, is a Christmas-themed mask. That's right. I'm Yukon Cornelius, by the way. Tonight's mask, none other than the darker shadow of Santa Claus, who's been popular in Austria, Germany, and parts European for many years, but only really made a splash in the US as of maybe the early early to mid 00s, somewhere in there. Before that, people in the US never heard of Krampus. That's right, Krampus. Now, there have been a number of Krampus masks made in the last few years, and really there have been a lot of nice ones. They're all pretty cool. But this one is my favorite. This one I would have to pick as the best Krampus mask out there. Why do I say that? Well, for one thing, some of the Krampus masks, although beautifully sculpted that I've seen elsewhere, have a face that's frozen in an odd expression like with his mouth wide open and his tongue out, which I know represents some of the old world artwork of Krampus, but you wouldn't really wear that. I think that kind of hampers the effectiveness of it as a costume piece, because he wouldn't go around with his mouth hanging open like that. It's just less realistic. This one, however, look at this expression. You put this on, and with your eyes showing in there, and this sort of diabolical, devious, and mischievous grin he's got going on, people are going to look at you twice and think, uh-oh, there's a guy that knows something. Yeah, because that's just how he looks. What a wonderful facial expression this is. And in addition to the expression, you can see the teeth are very realistic. They're not just painted on fronts. They're actually, you know, he'll give you the Krampus clampus right there. You know, very nice looking teeth even on close inspection. I love the fact that rather than looking completely monstrous and non-human, this version looks like something that would actually be intelligent and have a personality behind it, rather than just being a vicious killer beast. And since traditionally Krampus is, as I mentioned before, sort of the darker side of Santa Claus, and I think we need Krampus in the US. I do. Totally fair play, okay? Because our old buddy Krampus here used to work with Santa. Okay, Santa and Krampus were friends and went around together on Christmas. And basically, what happens is, if you've been good through the year, or even reasonably good, if you've been good, you get toys and gifts and new clothes and good things to eat, yummy treats, and all that good stuff, that fun stuff that people you know, associate with Christmas gift giving. But on the other hand, if you've been a rotten, surly, ill-mannered, misbehaving, disrespectful, tedious little creep making people unhappy all year, well, why should you be rewarded? No, in that case, if that's the kind of behavior you've been exhibiting throughout the year, on Christmas Eve, Krampus comes and kicks your butt. What could be fairer than that? Good behavior is reinforced and rewarded, you see, but bad behavior, no. Krampus gonna come set you straight, all right? And that's one of the things I like about our old friend Krampus. Now, this particular mask is from Zagoni, formerly Be Something Studios. It was sculpted, like many of the finest Zagoni / Be Something masks, by the phenomenally talented Bill Eastrom. And you can tell that because underneath, inside the chin there, it says bye-bye, B-Y-B-Y. And what that means is by Bill Eastrom. You see, the first by indicates who it's by, and the second by would be his initials. So that's why it says bye-bye. And if you've been really bad through the year, you may be saying bye-bye when Krampus comes for you. So anywhere from being eaten in the soup, anywhere from being made into lunch for Krampus, down to much lesser punishments, depending on how bad your behavior is. That's Krampus's stock in trade. And another great thing about this mask, these horns are They have wonderful depth. They're very realistic looking, very 3D, really set it off and bring it to life. And they're separately cast and glued on here. Most of the time you can see when mask companies do that, it looks like things have been stuck together. Not with this one. This is so well designed and so sophisticated in the way it's put together and cast and painted that you really don't notice. It's easy to think this is all one piece. That's very cool. Now this particular mask was available in another version for a few years prior to this under the title Elegant Devil. Now Elegant Devil was kind of similar, but he had black hair. He didn't have this grimy and unhealthy and creepy of a paint job. He looked a little more natural, a little more normal, like a person's, like Caucasian skin would look. And he didn't have facial hair. He didn't have any of this beard going on, which gives him, I think, this, let me start over. The Elegant Devil version is good, yeah, it's okay, but to me, having the facial hair on there really makes it, really sells it, adds a lot of character, gives him this very cool mythology themed, sort of an old world look, almost like a satyr or a a centaur or a goat type creature, which I think this just brings him to life. And it also fits the descriptions because a lot of times Krampus was seen as having some facial hair and having a little beard. Now the Elegant Devil, I believe, is still available. So even though it's the same sculpt, they're so different that if I were running a haunted house or a haunted Christmas tree lot or a haunted toy store or a haunted coffee shop, and I had a lot of people in costumes as monsters wearing masks, I would go ahead and use both in there and feel justified as far as nobody is going to notice it's the same mask, because even though it's the same face, it looks very different and has a very different effect when you give it black hair, clean up the paint job, and take off the beard. And briefly, another version was offered called El Diablo Rojo, which is Spanish for Red Devil. Okay, that version, don't get ahead of me here, was in fact red. It was red in the face, black hair, and the horns were sort of gradient white, sort of going into white. So you had white horns, red face, black hair, and no beard. That version, nice too. I believe that version is not in production at this time. But I think the one to have is the Krampus version. Again, terrific facial hair, just really well done. Sells for $60 to $75. Yeah, it's a little bit of leeway, but somewhere in that price range. And also, another selling point, they put a piece of elastic fastened to the back of the hairline at the bottom right there. Can you see that's elastic there? So when you put that on, it's not going to flop around on your face. It's going to fit in there nicely on the back of your head and stay in place and give you a much more realistic look. This really is an amazing mask. This is like a movie quality prop, I think. And the fact that you can get one for 60 or 70 bucks is just phenomenal. And I think everybody should have a Krampus mask in his collection, especially at holiday time. And oh boy, I have got to fix that roof, don't I? You see why I keep getting distracted in here? I have got to fix the roof. But well, maybe I'll do that later when I take the Christmas lights down. Krampus Zagones, highly recommended, from 2015. And well, now I'm gonna get out of here quick before Krampus comes looking for me.